I am Calvin Elbert Jr.
All right. What was it like during the Great Depression?
Well, as far as I can remember, we never had nothing. If nobody had jobs, the money was very scarce, and all the people I knew and everything, grandparents, aunts and uncles, were really poor. Money was a hard thing to come by.
All right. What was it like in World War II when you fought in the Pacific?
Well, I had quit high school. I was a junior in junior in high school. And halfway through, I had turned. I was 17 years old, and I just decided that I really wasn't encouraged. I was like in football. I loved track sports in school, but what the actual schoolwork and stuff like that, I loved machine shop. I loved woodworking, but I was decided I wanted to get into the Marine Corps, and so my dad had to go with me over to Seattle, and I applied, and they took a physical of me and made me answer the questions and everything, and then they told me to come back, that they were going to sign me up. And after I quit school then altogether, and they called me, and I went over to Seattle, and they give me $22 in a pass to get down to San Diego on the train to go to boot camp training. And when I got into the boot camp, most everybody there was around my age or a little bit older. I was probably one of the younger ones, and we had to do the same thing for the training, and as everybody did. And I was young, I was athletic, and the stuff that we had to go through, the calisthenics and everything, was not hard for me to do. And I got discharged from the boot camp, and they sent me to a Marine Corps Air Station. And from that station there, we went to another training, and then they sent us down to another station to be put into an air squadron. I had no mechanical aptitude at all. I was assigned 3 planes, and those 3 planes I had to fuel every morning. We had to change oil in them after so many hours. After so many hours, we had to change the spark plugs and everything. After they flew them for the day, there was three or four different pilots to each airplane that would be flying during the day, and I'd have to clean them down, wash them down, and everything. And it was a different experience for me altogether. And then they sent us to another station in Southern California, and from there, our squadron being broken up because we were a land-based squadron, and they only wanted squadrons that could land on carriers in that. So they had given me some training as a plumber and water purification man. And I took that course, the training, and passed it. And then they sent me overseas, and I had to distill ocean water to make drinking water and water for for us to drink and cook with and wash our clothes with and everything. And it was altogether different. I got to see when the Japs surrendered, dropped the atomic bomb. I was over in Ulysses in the Western Carolinas, and there was a Jap base about 110 miles from our Ulysses where I was stationed at the time, and they took me. They come and got me. The commander asked us if I guess we wanted to go, and we went down to Yap, and the Japs surrendered to our commander down there for this island of Yap. And they had been isolated for a good couple of months or better when the Japs had, they couldn't hold the bases, they couldn't hold nothing because we were advancing with our troops and everything like that. Then when they come in, I got discharged from the Marine Corps and the 1st of July of 1946, and I ended up in Butte, Montana about 3 weeks after I got discharged, and a buddy of mine that was there that we were in boot camp with is the reason I got to Butte, and from there on, I become a civilian again.
All right. What was it like in Butte, Montana?
Well, Butte, Montana was an open town at that time. There was lots of gambling, lots of prostitution, and everything's in a wide open town. And you could go, I went to work for the Anaconda Copper Company, and I got $8 a day for 8 hours of work. And you could work I worked, had to go to the school mining to start with, and I worked on a 3,800 foot down in the ground level. And then they said we were done with the training, and then we hired out, and we worked like days pay, and I worked for part of 1946. In 1947, until September of 1947, they were advertising on the paper for student firemen and student brakemen in Havre, Montana. And the agent in Butte didn't know nothing about it, but he said he'd contact his authorities and find out whether we could hire out. And I came up here to Havre, John Hicks and I together. We hired out, and I stayed for 42 years. Started out as a fireman, was promoted in '53 as an engineer, and retired when I was 63 years old with 42 years of service.
All right. What was it like raising your children?
Pardon?
What was it like raising your children here in Havre?
Well, I'll tell you, when we first got, the wife and I, Charlotte and I got married, I had been working on the railroad for a couple of years. I had a regular job, and I was a little bit leery about getting married because I didn't know how I could support them. But I liked to have kids. I wanted to have children, and we had our oldest daughter was born in 1951, and then Charlotte and I have what you call the RH factor. She has O-type blood, and I have A-type blood, and I have O-type, and she has O negative. And anyway, 3 years later, we had a son, and then about 14 months later, we had a daughter. And we decided that was enough children to put through school and raise, and they all turned out very much. They all were teachers, all come out, and the two daughters stayed with their education business. My son, he was a mechanic teacher. He went into the railroad and worked 33 years as a machinist in the diesel shop.
All right. What was it like being a kid when in the Great Depression and around that time?
Well, I'll tell you, we never had entertainment like we do now. Yeah, we didn't have an automobile sometimes. We lived on the Sound. We had moved from Tacoma. I was in the 7th grade. I was in junior high school when we moved over to the Olympic Peninsula. And I had to take the 8th grade there, and then I went into the 9th in high school in Fallsville, Washington. And I liked to fish. We got to hunt some. I loved boating. We lived right on the Sound. I helped Mother and Dad build a house and everything. So to actually be self-supporting and everything at that time would be very hard for a young person.
All right, last question. What do you think of the world now and how people are reacting to stuff?
To tell you the truth, as an old man that I've been through, it's utterly ridiculous what's going on. The way they do with they're blaming the police for everything because of one man being brutally killed, you might say. Whether he was strictly fighting with the police or he wasn't listening to them, and there might have been a little bit of brutality with the policemen, but you can't blame the policemen always because these guys are always wanting to fight. And I'll tell you, when the President of the United States right today is about the poorest person of a human being that I've ever seen in my years of having been here, 94 years.
All right. Thank you very much.